You there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Some more feedback comes in from Carsten, and he says that Tigers with a hot start, but the decline was unavoidable with more errors and missed tackles than the Giants. The second half was all Huddersfield, and I think the reason may be playing in front of more than 15 people.
Mark W. said, Wolford inherited a team with one win in their last 11 games. He's now won 8 out of 9, taking us from 12th to being one win from 5th. What a man. To go to the jungle and keep the champions asterisk scoreless for the second half is a huge effort, and I couldn't be prouder of the squad. Top 4 next year. Oof, confidence.
But that's a claim, but one that you can't rule out at this point.
I'm going to throw this rundown away. I'm going to keep this one. Tell you what, actually, he had a good weekend on the tipping on the bets front of things. Did Mark? I think he's earned himself. Well, it's gone towards repaying the bill for that fancy engagement ring he bought for his missus earlier in the season. I think. Did he buy an engagement ring? Have I made that up? He moved in. Did he move?
I don't remember this one, so I'll leave it to you.
Moved in, maybe. I'll not put him ahead of where he maybe is at. I'm not sure. I think he proposed. He did propose.
If not, he's now got ample excuse to do so because he's got the money to get himself buy a ring. So if you haven't done it, go and do it.
Exactly. Wedding fund or whatever fund that might get created. He did get engaged because he did a post about it's amazing to think that someone you met in Fifth Ave and you're now getting married to them or something to that effect. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, Dr. Bob Phillips says, the first doctor says, Cass really hate rhinos. Gits.
Paul Mac _78 said, apart from the first 10 mins, that was almost a perfect performance from Huddersfield. No one really stood out because everyone was great. The spine looked balanced, Ty was strong, Hinchcliffe tackled everything, Fergo ran hard and put the hit of the season on QLT. Yes, that was ridiculous. Brilliant. Jerry was Jerry, and Cudjoe staked his claim for the England right centre spot now that Watkins and the Grub are out for the season. SL secured for another year!
Fatboy Rob says the champions raced into a 12-point lead just to prove we could have won if we wanted to, before reverting back to the 2014 version of Cass for the good of the sport. Coincidentally, Ellis was also our half-back then. Huddersfield's speed around the ruck and general movement was too good for us and deserved their win to secure a top 8 spot. I was disappointed. Then I looked at the league table and it filled me with cheer.
Paul O'Brien said, another good win for the Giants. Castleford were not at their best tonight and Huddersfield took advantage. I think that's a little bit unfair on Huddersfield. I think Huddersfield were absolutely
I think Huddersfield were consistent,
outstanding,
were better, and they played better and they exploited their opponents.
The pivots for Huddersfield in this game, I thought all were exceptional. Adam O'Brien for the 60 minutes he played, it was as accomplished a performance I've seen from him in the Super League. Gaskell actually looked like he could play Super League consistently and create stuff and cause damage to what isn't an awful defence at Castleford by any shakes. Brough just ticked things along because he let Gaskell and Rankin come off him and really be the danger men. And I thought they were both superb, Gaskell and Rankin, in this game. They were really, really threatening. You got to say, built off the back of a pack. The pack were imposing in defence as much as anything else. Michael Lawrence, we know how hard he works in defence always, but that hit from Fergie on QLT was just something else. Lined up perfectly.
It needed the little the birdies going round it, didn't it? As he got up, because it was you could I think it's partly because of the position of the microphone, the Sky pitch mic. You could really got a sense of hearing it, and it was quite some force, and it's great. And again, it's one they should be sticking straight on the highlight reel for next season's I think for season ticket sales.
Yeah.
The one thing for me was. This was the classic Greg Eden performance. That is Greg Eden's career in one game. There's a high ball. It's gone to Greg Eden. It's only going one place, and that's a knock on or straight on the floor through his arms.
Yeah. That was pre-Brisbane Broncos Greg Eden, weren't it? Out there.
That was I mean, he may as well have just had a red robin on his back because that was so typical of that performance. It was just, yeah. And I wrote it down, and then I then wrote times 3 after it because he did it 3 more times.
The worst one was the one that led to the Cudjoe try, where it was just the air shot. I mean, he's gonna look back on that one, and I think he might have been one of the players that was called out without specifically calling him out by Darryl Powell in the post-match. He did call out that basically there's a few of the blokes in his team who have shown that maybe they haven't got it when they're under pressure, and he's learnt a lot about those players, and that was quite telling. That was like, I think that was a
I've made my
refocus, which was,
and I think it was a kind of I've made my decision about next year on some of these guys as well, potentially.
Potentially so for Huddersfield. Do you know what I had a bit of a feeling in the afternoon when I was at work. It came over me.
Did you call Dr. Bob?
That Jerry was going to score a hat trick, and I don't know why. And I'm wishing that I'd backed it now or put it out there or something, because people will just think I'm making it up now. But I was going to get a brew in the afternoon. And I was thinking about the game that night, and it just occurred to me Jerry's going to get a hat trick tonight, and he did. And both wingers were awesome. Darnell McIntosh, when we saw him played at fullback last year, and he looked positionally naive. He showed some ball skills sometimes, but not really. And
it wasn't. There's never anything consistent in a whole game, was it? No, there was a flash here or there, but it wasn't a consistent game of good or bad.
Yeah. And I was chatting to Mark about it, I think in the off season or early doors this season, and he said he's never been a fullback, and I think just the fact that he was thrust into that role by necessity last year, but that's where people saw him coming first. Wait till he gets a consistent run on the wing. That's where this kid is special, and we've seen it. I've seen it in person a week ago, and then on television this week. He is special. But Jerry is when people were talking about him not being in the England side, him and Hall maybe not justifying the place based on Super League form this year or whatever. This is that class is permanent kind of thing.
Well, it's like the Ian McGeechan test match animal, isn't it? He is that person that raises his game at the right time.
Yeah, exactly that. Castleford show bits, but I think Jamie Ellis in the second half maybe got too excited by that try he scored early doors, but he seemed to get tackled in possession way too often in that second half. I don't know if the attacking structure had broken down and they didn't have another go-to to do. They didn't have a backup option that they could pull out of the bag in this game with personnel out and that sort of stuff, which you've got to acknowledge. But the forward pack was pretty much reinforced this week, so that wasn't an excuse there. But yeah, Jamie Ellis, second half attacks died with Jamie Ellis consistently.
Yeah, I don't know. It just looked to me like he'd got more tattoos as well. I think he's more tattoo than skin now. He already had a lot, but I think he's got more. I wonder if he's just weighed down by the sheer weight of ink.
I think it's
over his body.
It's gut as well, potentially. But I don't want to take away from that. He did score a try early on, and he did look threatening in the early passings. But in that second half, I don't know if it was, like I say, the structures outside of him as well were not quite there. But it really did seem to die. The attack really did seem to die with him, and Jake Truman didn't step up and command anything. I'm not slagging Jake Truman off. He's a kid. He's gonna have games like that, and I think they're a good learning experience for him. And he certainly isn't going to be one of the players getting called out by his coach. I would suggest. Just really great. I mean, exemplified by that Hinchcliffe tackle on Greg Eden in that second half to keep them scoreless in that second half, keep that great start to the second half that Huddersfield had going. I think that exemplified everything about Huddersfield being just right at it in this game. Yeah,
and I think then backing up the Cudjoe try and the McIntosh try not long after it, I think they just again, there was nothing flash or exuberant or magic about Huddersfield. It was just consistency as much as anything. They just kept going.
And in the last 10 minutes, it was pretty much accepted by the commentary teams, by the audience, by the fans at the stadium, that Cass weren't going to mount a comeback on this occasion. They were not going to do it.
Did you notice at half time John Wells's analysis? I think it is now slightly starting to be skewed by his day-to-day involvement with Cass. So it was very Phil Gould-esque in the, well, they were really good.
Let's look at how Cass's defence was rubbish on these tries. It was that, weren't it?
It was, yeah.
But, to his credit, the way he conducted, I think, the post-match with the touchscreen with Jordan Rankin, that was very good. Maybe step him down from the touchscreen on Cass games, maybe. But stats. Unless you got anything else.
No, there's one minute to this one.
Although Cass made ground at a better average gain, Huddersfield made 165 more metres and made 4 more clean breaks. Castleford tackled below 90% success rate and had a big 19 errors, 8 more than their opponents. Individually, Jerry, 3 tries, 6 tackle balls, 151 metres, 3 clean breaks. Darnell, 1 try, 8 tackle balls, 168 metres. Jordan Rankin, a try assist, 8 that offload, by the way, in the build-up to his second. That was fantastic. 8 tackle balls, 110 metres, 4 successful offloads. Jordan Turner, 137 metres. For the losing Cass side, not great load to write him out. Paul McShane, 2 try assists, 46 tackles, so a bit of both ways from Macca again. And Liam Watts, 129 metres. Okay, Saturday, another decisive game in the Super League on the Saturday. Another televised one. It ended Catalans 44, Salford 10, 8,672. So Scott Mikilauskas referee this one. It was over at half-time, really, 28-4 to the Dragons. Do you want to take us through the fan review?
Yeah, Alan Walker said, Fluid Yaha will be missed next year. Wasted at Argon. Lost to the game. At least Ryan Hall goes to NRL. Hope Food fucks off the Yornian wankers quick enough, gets bored, and comes back to the Drax family.
Yeah, I don't know how signed and sealed that is, but obviously Al's worried that it's gone. The Fluid Yaha to Union. Paul Chamberlain said, firstly, great 3-man commentary team, a step up from the domestic tosh and makes the game much better to watch. Kenny Edwards might have won the weekly Beastman award over Luke Thompson, and his locker room celebrations suggest he is really enjoying his time at Catalans. Any news on Yaha to Union, and where do we see Shorrock's career going? Is it just playing in a bad side, or was his early promise illusory? Illusory? An illusion, let's say.
Yes.
It's a good question. I suppose we could try it.
Well, I thought Jake Shorrocks was going to be the face of the game in China. if you listen to other media outlets, but possibly not.
I don't know with Jake Shorrocks. I've always been worried because he's had significant injuries. The injuries he's had have been significant, his knee injuries, and he's had 2 knee reconstructions, I think.
Well, they say you only get 3, don't they? That basically, you've got 3 in you.
Yeah, he's playing in a battered side. He's playing in a side that don't have resources to give him any sort of platform, it feels like. But the great players can rise above that, and he certainly isn't necessarily showing that. You know, I want the kid to succeed after seeing him get that injury at Widnes last year. When he was poised to get a chance, it was disappointing from a Wigan fan perspective. Do you know what? I just don't think he is. I don't think he's at the level of being a top draw Super League player. I don't think he's shown enough to suggest that he can do it, but I do think he's got talent.
Do you think he needs to go and
Super League?
Do you think he needs to go and spend 2 seasons in the Championship, learn his game, playing week in week out, and then move up to a team that then comes up with him?
I think a year behind a big pack at a lower level wouldn't do him any damage at all. I think he'd still need to be in a full-time environment because he's had that. That's all he's had. So maybe, playing for a side like Lee or a side like London or something, maybe he's got an opportunity there. But I think he's good enough to play in the Super League. I don't see him leading any teams to championships at the moment, and that's horrible to say, but that's where I'm kind of probably where most Leeds fans are with Jordan Lilly. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. They want him, but they're not sure he's ready for it yet, and he's not at the right level.
What did Brian Davies have to say?
Lord Brian said quality performance from Catalan